there's a new relationship to one's body. Because all contemplative practice, whether it's mindfulness, whether it's mantra-based meditation, whether it's visualization, they all train interoceptive awareness. You start by moving your attention outside your head of what you expect, it's mantra-based want or what you feel safe and to explore the options that are available to you. So there is a lot of overlap in that way. And then some of my recommendations for the use of mindfulness in the context of trauma care, these are not novel, other people have spoken about them, but I think it's important to emphasize asking yourself the question from the get-go, am I using mindfulness meditation as a standalone intervention or as complementary to something that I'm already doing? If it's complementary to something you're already doing, then I think it's okay to pick and choose. Is a brief 3-minute breathing space going to be useful for my client? Is giving them access to an audio recording of a 30-minute body scan helpful for my client? What else do I need as a wraparound to help people understand and unpack mindfulness meditation? And so I think that sets the formulation part of it. And there are so many resources available these days that it's easy to provide people with resources. When we were starting with this work and the 8-week program was over, we would say, well, there's not a lot of places where you can practice, but there is this Buddhist temple. It's located here, and you know, on Sundays, they just let anyone show up and they're not going to bother you. And so that would be a good place for you to go. And now, you know, online, all kinds of ways of helping people to plug in. We try to ensure that if people come into MBCT groups, that they already have had a narrative of their trauma experience developed. And this is really important for us. We want to look after patients in a way that honors their experience, but in an MBCT group, if they are not aware of something that is being triggered for the first time or they're experiencing something intense, there is not the capacity for the instructor or the therapist to spend a lot of time with them in that moment. They might be able to acknowledge it, they might be able to talk to them about it afterwards, but in the moment, there is the need for a person to have some recognition of what this is, what this means, some familiarity with it. Oh, and here it is again, and then they can look after themselves. If you think about the mindfulness footprint in dialectical behavior therapy, Marcia uses 5 minutes, not a lot more. I think she asks her therapists to train for longer periods of time, but the 5 minutes is a limited exposure because of some of the ways in which people with borderline personality disorder can find themselves becoming dysregulated, whether through trauma, whether through other things. So we have to be careful about that. And we do, when we assess people for suitability, ask about trauma, ask whether they've had the kind of care that allows them to understand how that might show up in their bodies. Because many of these practices are open, they're unstructured, they're unscripted, they allow for anything to emerge. And so if things emerge that are incredibly overwhelming, yes, there are ways of stabilizing yourself in the moment, but the capacity to process that with the teacher, the therapist, in the groups is somewhat limited. Right, so I did mention that about DBT versus our work. And then guidance is a huge thing. There are different ways of guiding mindfulness meditation. Some of them are a little bit hokey, you know, like all of a sudden you move your voice into meditation voice and you end up sounding like this. And that's not needed, that's not necessary. There's ways of introducing music, there's ways of introducing other elements. Now, the real important focus is that the language is always invitational. It's not a command language of move your attention here, now move from the toe to the shin, and now move from the shin to the kneecap, and from the kneecap to the hip. It's much more allowing people to see that they have agency, they have control, inviting people. So phrases like, if you're willing. Phrases like, and now seeing whether. And also giving people a choice of finding their own equilibrium within the practice. So eyes open, eyes closed. Using an anchor, not the breath, if the breath is somehow triggering. Using an anchor potentially of sound or sensation in the feet. Helping people adjust their bodies in ways that allow them to feel safe, to cover up, to feel warm, to shift out of sitting into lying. All of these ways are intended to allow the maximum number of people to participate, rather than saying that there is this uniform posture for meditation which optimizes the experience. That's not really true. And guiding itself, I think, needs to be peppered with sensory anchors. So when we talk about the breath is a concept. But feeling the sensations of air coming into the body, coolness at the back of the throat, friction at the nostrils, rising and falling, expanding, contracting. These are sensory anchors that can make concepts and foci in the practice themselves much more tangible and much more real. And then, of course, the big background behind all of this is that paying attention to one's experiences is already a profound act of self-compassion, honoring your experience in terms of whatever comes up with your attention, rather than manipulating your attention to get away from your experience or from needing to have a different experience, are very common maneuvers of the mind. And mindfulness allows us to see that we can stay with things sort of as they are, even for a few moments, and that they have a very different resonance with us than maybe the way the mind might describe them. So I know that we'll have a chance to integrate some of this. I just wanted to leave you with our last experiential way of understanding a lot of what I've talked about, which is to have us all experience a 3-minute breathing space before lunch. And the 3-minute breathing space is something which is, it's very portable. Clients love it because it can be done pretty much anywhere. But I'd like you to see as we do this that the 3-minute breathing space allows us to experience 2 different types of attention. That's part of, I think, its power. An attention that comes from being open and non-choosing, which is the first step. And then an attention that becomes more concentrated at the second step. And then an attention that goes broad again at the third step. So I don't want to preview it too much, but if we do it, if you do it, if you notice some of this, it might be interesting to hear about it when we do the integration session. So in whatever way feels comfortable to you, maybe finding your seat right now, maybe sitting in the chair in a way that allows you to feel comfortable, allows you to feel supported, allows you to arrive. And if you feel comfortable, allowing your eyes to close, and if not, then maybe just finding a spot in front of you 4 or 5 feet, holding it with a soft and steady gaze. Noticing sensations of sitting, sensations that are already here, maybe feeling the feet pressing down into the carpet and the floor beneath you, the chair supporting the body's weight, the spine rising up from the pelvis with the neck and head balanced, just sitting. And in the first step of the 3-minute breathing space, perhaps asking yourself, what is my experience right now? What thoughts are here? What feelings are present? what bodily sensations are making themselves known. And as best you can, just allowing all of these elements to be here. Watching, observing them from one moment to the next. And now seeing if you can let go of the contents of mind and bringing your attention to that place in your body where the breath makes itself most vividly known, or if you prefer another anchor, such as sound or sensations elsewhere. And simply staying with this region, giving the mind just this one thing to do, moment by moment, noticing any changes, in-breath, out-breath, sensations coming, sensations going. And then in the third step of the 3-minute breathing space, seeing whether you can expand your attention around that region in the body, allowing your attention to radiate outwards into the whole body. And so as best you can, feeling the whole body sitting, feeling the whole body breathing, from the crown of your head to the soles of your feet, one whole breath, one whole body. And then when you're ready, just allowing your eyes to open and returning your attention back to the room. So this is a core MBCT practice. I hope it links up with some of the things that we've been talking about for the past hour. And just to say thank you for listening, for being willing to drop into some of these exercises. And I really appreciate your attention. Thank you. Pardon?
Is it possible to take a picture with you?
Yeah, for sure.
I didn't bring your books. I only like half.
Don't worry about it. Okay, that's cool.
You can sign it now or
Yeah, I can sign it now, sure.
be amazing.
Yeah.